Welcome back, everybody, to Week 6 of the Hearthstone Legendary Series. You like my Power Ranger pose? I went, yeah! I practiced it for about 6 years, and then I realized Power Rangers isn't cool anymore because it's the year 2000, it's the 21st century.
So that was a waste of 6 years.
Not that it was 2013, and then I'm 23 years old, and I should be a grown-ass man. Let's be real here.
Yeah. Well, anyways, back to...
This is a show about Hearthstone, by the way. We're getting ready for our next match, which is Zalae versus Sjow. That's coming up here on stream. Now, Zalae, let's talk a little bit about him, because I think people are coming in to the series knowing a lot about Sjow, both as a Hearthstone and maybe even the StarCraft 2 pro gamer, if you can go back even 3-4 years ago. Yeah. What do you know about Zalae?
So Zalae was one of the players that made it through the Open Challenger Cup on Sunday a few weeks ago. That was in week number 5, and he actually qualified for that week and then placed top 4 in week 5 in the actual match day to make it to where he is today. He's a very safe player. A lot of the times, a lot of his moves are very meticulous. He doesn't like to take risks, but it works out well for him. He usually goes with deck choices that are very conservative, and his games are sometimes longer, but it's gotten him this far, and he's definitely made a name for himself. He's definitely gathered some points as well that are going to go towards his total for making it to that $20,000 land final.
Yeah.
And if he places high today, it's probably likely that we'll be seeing him come February.
It's a very good point to bring up the points because we're going to be taking not only the 4 first-place finishers. Last week it was Dark Wanix, or last time rather. We always say last week, even though it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
We took a holiday off, but they do have points. Zalae has 15. I believe Sjow has 35. And the current leaders have 80 because that's the first week winner. So if you're able to play second a few more times or just play consistent to the point where you're able to get good enough points, then you have an opportunity to overtake those point leaders and then get a spot in the top 4. Well, let's take a look at the lineup here. We have a very good diversity of classes. Once again, Mage being able to represent it, but we also see Druid, Paladin, and also being represented here. We've seen a lot of Warlock and Warrior. We've seen a lot of Handlock versus Warrior.
Yes.
I'm sensing that in match number 3, but let's talk a little bit about the first 2 matches here.
Yeah, so first match is going to be Mage versus Druid. So I'm not actually sure which Mage deck Sjow is going to be running. There's actually quite a few variations of Mage right now that are really competitive. There's just very aggressive Mech Mage. There's a variation of Mech Mage that uses Archmage Antonidas for the little bit of extra burn, the little bit of extra gas later on. Then there's just Freeze Mage and a couple variations of Freeze Mage. There's Giants Mage, which we saw from Hyped. And there's also the Echo of Medivh Mage, which I don't know.
That's the way we call it, the Echo of Medivh, because I feel like it's very similar to Giants Mage. It's just that you use Echo of Medivh as another alternative card draw source.
Well, I've come to learn in the competitive Hearthstone scene that a deck is not defined by what it does, but by the new card that comes into the deck.
No.
The most recent
I thought
card
it was by the
added.
person who made it.
That's also true.
Yes.
But a lot of the times, if there's like a variation of something, like there was a point where there was a Freeze Mage that just ran Molten Giants, and people were calling it Giants Mage.
Right, when it was like a hybrid of the two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even though it was a Freeze Mage at its core, people added Giants to it, so now it's a Giants Mage. But yeah, it's basically a Giants Mage, just they run Echoes.
Okay, well, I'm going to lean over towards the Mech Mage. I know Sjow definitely has experimented with it already.
Okay.
And Mech Mages are so powerful because of the temple you grab, especially because of the Goblin Blast Mage.
Yes.
That card is nuts.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like I could have followed it up. I could have followed up with a lot of comments and metaphors of cashews and almonds, but I just summarized it with an encompassing blanket term called nuts.
Yeah, it really gives you a pretty big tempo swing on board, and if you get a Mech Warper early on, can push out a bunch of mechs and then follow it up with a Goblin Blast Mage to shore up some of the creatures that may still be left on the board.
Oh. Wait, what?
What?
Haunted Creeper?
He's not on the wrong deck because
no,
I
see the Mage Hero power. So like Dr. Boom makes sense in almost any deck at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like what would be like the most ridiculous deck to have Dr. Boom? Like Freeze Mage.
Face Hunter.
No, it makes sense because it's damage. Oh, it's this deck. He has an Echo of Medivh, like you said. So, is this like a control mage?
I guess so.
A control mage? It probably has to have Molten Giants.
With
though.
Haunted Creepers, that's a little odd.
It's definitely to answer the aggro.
Okay.
Which is funny because Echo of Medivh with Haunted Creeper actually surprisingly effective because it just puts out so many tokens in your hand.
That's true.
You don't use it solely on the tokens.
No.
But it's like that with like Sylvanas or whatnot.
Yeah. You think that Echo of Medivh is like a tool for giants or like something big that's on the board, but
Right.
it can actually be a pretty big like card advantage tool earlier than you might expect. Like if you can get a lot of those valuable creatures out early on, like Haunted Creepers, even Loot Hoarders or Mad Scientists, and Echo of Medivh, then you can like flood the board with an identical board next turn and still get the remaining value of that.
So then what secrets are in this deck, TJ, when you have a deck like this? Because this Mad Scientist obviously will pull a trap from the deck and put it into play.
Yeah, I would say probably Duplicate, and I don't know if Ice Block would be... it's really hard to say.
Well, we're going to have to wait on this because I do
Yeah.
agree with this silence.
Yeah, Duplicate I think is one of the ones that would be the most likely. Mirror Entity could even be a possibility.
Well, fortunately for Zalae, he can put that on delay.
That's like the only pun that you could possibly make out of Zalae's name. It's such an obscure name.
And he belayed that secret.
Nope.
Is that an applicable
No.
use of that word?
I don't think so.
Did I pass?
No, you failed.
Oh, Mirror Entity.
You get a D.
That makes sense. Mirror Entity with Echo of Medivh.
Yeah.
Actually, that's so problematic. If you just play it right now, your opponent can't do anything about it other than give you a Violet Teacher. But I don't know. Like, is it timing for it? You do have another way to pull a secret through Mad Scientist and the Undertaker to even synergize with the Death Rattle. It's a little hard. This deck definitely feels like it's very complex already.
So it's like it's effectively a Death Rattle mage, and you use Echo of Medivh to sort of
To get draw.
to get draw
Okay.
and increase the value of your Death Rattles. Because even if you use Echo of Medivh early on, just to get more Death Rattles to continuously buff your Undertaker,
Ah, that's a good point.
that's even still a great play just in that sense. It's sort of not similar to
Yikes. That's
Feign,
bad.
not similar to Feign Death, but I guess it might serve like a similar type of purpose in that specific instance.
I think Sjow really unhappy to see this second Mirror Entity. Like, anything would have been preferable to that. Anything that's not a secret would have been preferable to that, because he has Mad Scientist already.
And now his plays are just pretty weak overall. He can Undertaker Mad Scientist, but then he floats a mana, which on turn 4 could be a big deal. Echo of Medivh, a Violet Teacher.
I wonder if Mirror Entity is the only secret in his deck. But I have to imagine Duplicate is also, right?
I don't know. As I see more cards in this deck, Duplicate might not be as likely. But
So
it
you-
seems like only running Mirror Entities might, especially with Echo of Medivh, your Mad Scientist wouldn't get much value out of like 2. It would sort of limit your options.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, here's the thing too. If you only have Mirror Entity as your only secret, then why do you even have 2 Mad Scientists?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I
as
mean,
well.
you do get synergy off of Undertaker, but you can also even make a justification for 1 Mad Scientist if you have 3 secrets, right? Because
Yeah.
still, at least in Hunter, I'm going off the logic of Hunter because
Yeah.
this is what people argue. Maybe it's different because Mage's secrets are more expensive. It's still a little hard to fully evaluate because this deck is very new, and
Yeah.
that's what it's very cool about.
Very tough. Until we see more, it's going to be hard to gauge.
Sure.
And I guess we will see because there's a Mirror Entity in hand. We've seen a Mirror Entity used. So once this Mad Scientist dies, we'll see what other secrets are in this deck, if any.
Do you think we'll see a board clear here? It feels like you want to as soon as you can, just because as a druid you need to be. You're definitely more of the control role because you see cards like Undertaker, and that's what's deceiving. Because this deck can slow and scale very aggressively to the late game. Cards like Echo of Medivh and Duplicate, and even Mirror Entity, allows you to fight toe-to-toe with control very well because you can get more ways to mind control the board with Sylvanas.
Yeah.
You get multiple Dr. Booms. it just starts snowballing way out of control. So as much as Zalae is making a play here to control the board, it could easily backfire if he doesn't, like if he's spending his resources a little bit too liberally.
Yeah. That was a really interesting way to use swipe. I guess it's inconsequential. He would have taken 2 damage on the Violet Teacher regardless.
Right.
Sludge Belcher makes a lot of sense in the deck though, so that's not really a card I'm surprised to see.
Oh man. Oh boy. Second mirror entity. Now you know there's 2 secrets on your opponent. It could be a counter spell. It could be a duplicate.
There's 2 secrets. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
He played the mirror entity from his hand.
Right. The first was so you have no way of telling it right now because you swiped the mad scientist, right?
After you attacked.
So there is no way to tell it at the moment other than just simply guessing. And if you guess wrong, like say you try to play Savage Roar because you think it's counter spell, then you just wasted Savage Roar.
Yeah. And giving your opponent a Spectral Knight is like
no, it's terrible.
It's very bad.
You basically gave him 2 mana back because he played it for 3.
And since there's 2 secrets, there's a chance that it might be counterspell and mirror entity.
The problem is it gets more increasingly difficult to play around these secrets the longer the game goes.
Yeah.
Because look at his cards. He wants to play Ancient of Lore next turn. If he wants to play Ancient of Lore, you have to be willing to give away a 5/5 if that's the case.
Can we see what that second secret is?
That's a duplicate.
Oh, that's a duplicate. Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
So then, duplicate, and then you play Sylvanas, so that way you force him to give you
Spectral Knights.
Spectral Knights.
Which are pretty good. I like 5-drops because they're very versatile. And Spectral Knight's just so hard to deal with. Especially against a Druid.
But you can't even... Oh my god. This is a catch-22 because he has Echo of Medivh. So if you don't kill off Sylvanas and duplicate it, he just copies it anyway.
Yeah. So either way, he's either going to get 2 Spectral Knights
and
2
Sylvanas. No matter how you cut it.
Yeah.
He's getting at least 2 of each.
That's ridiculous.
This is brilliant is what it is. Wait. Is there... Oh, yeah, I was like, is there a silence? And then, no, but there's no way. Because, like, even if you copy Echo Medivh, it doesn't, like, copy a silenced Sylvanas, right? No. I mean, this card's pretty new. I haven't played around much with it.
Yeah.
I'll be very transparent about that.
Well, he's going to silence it anyway, but it's not as effective as you might think.
Right.
Just because he's going to get use out of it regardless. And he actually decides to not proc the duplicate, which is pretty good.
Well, here's the thing, too. Like, normally you play around the secrets by, like, of duplicate by making sure that he doesn't trade into... Like, he has to trade into it and give up. So that way he activates it on his turn. But this is where, like... I mean, you just simply have to bully your way through.
Yeah. Sjow is actually dancing. He seems...
Like, he's in such a good spot here because Druid can't answer this board. He needs a mass... He needs Kazan Mystic off the top. That's what he needs.
Well, I saw a post earlier today. I forgot his name. He was the 4th player to hit Legend in North America. Started with an F. Don't remember.
Not Frozen.
No, not Frozen. But he actually ran a Kazan Mystic.
To kill the hunters?
Yeah, for hunters, for ladder.
To kill those aggro paladins with Avenge. Your revenge belongs to me.
Avenge can be problematic to deal with if they like Avenge turn 1.
Is this not a target you want to Echo of Medivh? I feel like it is.
I think you just do it.
I guess he wants to play Lothep this turn. Yeah, I'm almost positive he wants to Lothep. So that way he can seal his board.
Yeah. And then he's pushing so much damage through here.
He actually has lethal next turn, right, if he does this? Oh, no, sorry. I miscounted. He will have 16 damage. Okay.
I mean, how many spells do you think he runs? Do you think he even has fireballs in this deck for the burn? I mean, I'm sure he has frost bolts. Well, I don't even know. He's got to have some.
I mean, it's so minion-based.
Yeah.
It could be just fighting with honest creatures.
Yeah.
Creatures.
Good old honest creatures.
They are.
Spells are honest too, man.
No, they're not. Like preparation, backstab,
dirty
innovate.
spells.
No. After I play like Innervates, I have to take a shower every game. And I go hard too. I use like Selsun Blue and Head and Shoulders and stuff. So
Whoa.
It's not good for my hair if I keep doing that.
Oh, that's intense.
Okay, is this a time to use Echo of Medivh?
I don't even know what.
You play Sludge Belcher and you get 6 cards. What can be wrong about that?
Yeah, I think it's an automatic choice.
Here's the thing, he's also so deep into the duplicate that if he weakens too much of his board, then you know he's easy. There's an easy way to manipulate it to give him like weak targets, I suppose.
Yeah.
Jeez, another Lotheb.
I think Zalae is a bit scared right now.
What did you be?
I didn't even know that this type of deck existed. I'm just a druid.
Well, you're finding out what's in the deck as you're facing it.
Yeah, which
That's
is
the scariest part.
Scary proposition in itself. Yeah.
Like he has yet to find out his opponent is running Dr. Booms and stuff.
And that's back-to-back Lotheb, so he's locking him out of spells for 2 turns in a row.
Right.
And it's not even like he just like bounced the Lotheb. There's still the second Lotheb is on the board. 2
Lothebs, 2 Sylvanas. This is definitely a deck that has been touted for a while as being a very good one if you can get it to work the way you want it to. But people haven't yet to find its consistency. And Sjow may have a list that's pretty consistent. So like this is where it's the ultimate cool story, bro. It's like you got you got like a weak target for a duplicate, but in the end, nothing happened.
And if you're Zalae, that's got to be a little bit of a blow to morale as well, because
you think so? I think it'd be okay. I think it's like okay, well, you know what? First game I lost, whatever. That's like a deck where I just don't know what I'm doing against.
Well, I think that would be a more reason why it would be a little harder to swallow, because you're saying it could be a little overwhelming to you, saying, well, I still don't know what's in the bottom half of that deck. If I'm scared to face that again, I don't know going into the blind pick phase what else I would be able to bring in that situation that'd be strong against that type of deck.
Sure.
So it could be a little bit overwhelming, but you're right. It's only the first game. We still got a couple matchups left. So the next game is going to be Paladin versus Warlock. So Zalae's Paladin versus Sjow's Warlock.
I want to see more of that mage.
You do?
Looks really cool.
So
it looks really, really cool.
With the one deck format.
Yeah, or even last Hero Standing. But like looking at Zalae and this matchup here, if Sjow's playing Zoo, he has a strong edge against Paladin, in my opinion. Unless Paladin gets the perfect start, which it often can fall into, right? Having something as simple as a Zombie Chow and a Shield Minibot stabilizes the board significantly.
Yeah.
If it's Handlock, well, this matchup is pretty even, but I give the nod to Paladin.
I'm leaning towards Handlock, just
because he played it last time.
He played it last time, and he plays it more often, I would say. Like watching his stream and seeing him play a lot, he seems to lean more towards Handlock.
Sure.
And you've said, and we had a little bit of a discussion yesterday about the strength of Paladin. And
we had a fight.
Matchups.
Let's just be honest, man.
We had a little bit of a word scuffle. We'll call it that.
A falling out.
I don't even know if it was a falling out. It was a
discourse.
Friendly fisticuffs of sorts.
What?
I don't know.
Fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs, like a fisticuffs with words. You know what? Never mind.
Is that your safety word?
That's my safety word. Fisticuffs for
I
an
said
fisticuffs.
TJ, why are you crying? I said fisticuffs. That's why you're emotional this morning.
Yes, I was.
Well, this is a pretty interesting start. When you see a pass on turn 1, it's like 95% of the time handlock. There is that case where sometimes Zoo starts off poorly, but the tap will most likely indemnify it as handlock.
I even forgot the point that I was going to make. Oh, the strength of handlock against Paladin. I think it's a lot more even than you'd think. You have to be really patient with your removal as a Paladin player to be able to come out on top of this one. There's instances where as a Paladin player you can just straight up win the game.
Yeah, like if you have a quality and you consecrate past everything and then you have like True Silver Champion, right?
But I don't think that's as likely of a scenario as might be thought. So we'll have to see. This seems like, well, I don't know. It's hard to tell right now. There's been some paladins that have been cutting inequality out of their deck.
But you still have one.
Still have one.
This definitely looks like the slower variant. You have Lay on Hands.
Yeah.
And Sylvanas.
And Sylvanas, yeah.
So it's like these are more control-oriented cards. I think Zalae is also struggling whether or not he feels he can get away playing Muster for battle compared to if it just gets Hellfired next turn and he loses all his momentum and board, as opposed to putting out the Pilot Shredder and then going for a more stable board.
I would actually like the Paladin Shredder in that situation a little bit more.
But the curve, TJ.
Well, that would still fit the curve. You can even Cult Master the following turn.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I guess you could.
But this play is still okay, and you're sort of forcing your opponent's hand, saying, if you don't have a way to deal with my creatures.
Oh!
Yikes.
Man. That's so hard to pass up. Quartermaster gives all your Silverhand recruits +2/+2, which means he has 12, 14, 15 damage right now. Also, of course, he kills off the giant, too.
Yeah.
Let me think.
This is one of those instances where it's like, Paladin has the potential to straight up win you a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Quartermaster is
Dang.
pretty strong.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's see all the alternatives. Zalae is gonna he's very slow and patient, so that way he can not get clouded by, immediate emotion.
Yeah.
Because he does have other plays if you wanted to play the Pilot Shredder, but I think this Quartermaster is just too good to pass.
Yeah, he's a very meticulous player.
Like,
and
I mean, Sjow realizes, like, gosh, how did this even happen?
and you see it come off the top too. You're like, oh well.
Right.
What can you do? What can you do?
I mean, that's a dream. The Quartermaster right after the Muster for battle.
Yeah. You're not giving your opponent much time to react. They have one turn to get rid of your tokens, or else done skis.
You've got ways to slow it down, though. You do have the Sludge Belcher, which will absorb several of the damage. Now, this is where I want to say the Cult Master can actually do pretty significant work here.
Oh yeah.
But I think Pilot Shredder might also be okay. Because it goes for a more stable board. Because if you play Cult Master, you're playing into Hellfire. So I think Pilot Shredder is...
But how much more stable is Pirate Shredder going to make your board as opposed to being able to draw cards?
I mean, you're only drawing one card, too. That's the thing. Unless you want to trade in both of your 3/3s. Oh.
I would, yeah. It's pretty good.
I was thinking about trading, like, killing off and saving your board. That's why Pilot Shredder would create a pretty decent board with strong power. But he just cashes in immediately.
Yeah. If he had played the Pilot Shredder, that would have been a better choice.
Sure.
But this way, at least he plays around Hellfire a little bit. This board is not very enticing to Hellfire.
This is quite hilarious. You can't even deal with the Cult Master other than silencing it.
Yeah.
Or a very drastic Shadow Flame.
And if you throw down Sylvanas here, it's just trade, easy. Giving your opponent an easy way to deal with it.
I think it might be a tap into like an owl and then pass.
Ah, gross.
No, that's actually really poor too. Might be owl and Defender of Arcus. Oh, that feels so bad too.
Owl.
Actually, you don't need an owl if you don't have any targets worth trading. So you might even tap. We got 10 cards, right? So you have to play something now.
Ancient Watcher is always a safe play.
Ancient Watcher. Are you going to allow your opponent to draw another card? Do you silence it, or do you just taunt up? I guess you don't do anything. You can just actually let this Ancient Watcher sit there.
I would just let it sit there. It might feel enticing to deny more drops from the Cult Master, but
I'm just scared of Paladin drawing cards.
Yeah.
It gets, like, a Paladin that draws cards is so dangerous.
true. But there's so many high priority silence targets elsewhere in the Paladin deck that might come back to bite you later on. Tyrion. Bolvar.
Nope, Tyrion.
Okay.
Sylvanas.
Bolvar.
Nope. Tyrion and Sylvanas.
Damn.
You Siphon Soul Bolvar.
Fooled
He's
again.
worthy of a Siphon Soul.
No. He's worthy of
Because
maybe.
you need to silence the effect of Tyrion so that way he doesn't get the weapon, but you need to... You can deal with Bolvar with Siphon Soul or Big Game Hunter.
You can just ignore Bolvar. I think Bolvar's in this deck. It's slower. It's a little bit slower.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So then how does Zalae go about this turn here specifically?
Let me think.
Like, I think it's like, to get through this wall, he does draw another card, but he does have to give up something else unless he plays True Silver Champion. But if he plays True Silver Champion, cards like the Pilot Shredder, he wants to develop so that way it actually starts getting some, like, board presence. And now, also, how many more cards does he need to draw? He's already almost at a full hand. Like, Cult Master already serves a very good purpose.
You don't like Sylvanas?
Sylvanas feels unnecessary until he has, like, a big wall of giants.
I like Sylvanas because you're going to try and bait out things to better protect your Tyrion that's going to come down in a few turns.
But then he just Shadow Flames. And then you lose. Or even Hellfire. And then it's like Sylvanas did nothing.
That's true.
I mean, now he has 2 Shadow Flames. I mean, there's so many ways that you can deal with Sylvanas already,
Yeah.
like silencing it so it wouldn't have a high impact.
So many possibilities.
Huh.
I think Sjow is also calculating like what he can do with his remaining mana.
Yeah.
So
It's awkward.
yeah, Shadow Flame does mean he's giving up pretty much the rest of the development of his turn, but he can tap.
Yeah. If he Dr. Booms, just too risky of a play.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's one of the better targets against Sylvanas because she can't cleanly trade into it and steal a Dr. Boom. There's a chance that you can steal the Doombots, but there's a weapon already. Consecrate would make it problematic, so
Right.
it's just too risky of a play.
I mean, you can also kill off the Cult Master and play like a small minion to just like have it reasonable, but I think Shadow Flame is the best, and I do think you just tap and let the turn just play itself out. You're at 8 cards, so it's okay.
Yeah. BGH is not really a sensible play because even though Paladins cut Rag now, usually Dr. Boom is added into the deck. BGH is always a safe keep now because of how popular Dr. Boom is.
So now, your opponent just killed off Sylvanas without having to use silence, or even like like a big target removal. And I felt like that was, that's just yeah, I'll say it. So just a little wasteful, you know. Like Sylvanas could have had higher impact against Handlock.
I'll agree with that.
Versus Pilot Shredder would have effectively done the same thing, but made it more resilient board. I mean, you just... Nope. I guess it doesn't really matter because you're going to be developing True Silver Champion eventually.
Yeah, going through 4 turns of a Life
Also,
Justice.
doesn't want to attack and make it cheaper Molten Giant. So I was like, why did he waste that 1 charge? But it makes sense.
1 charge of Light's Justice wasted.
Well, I mean, you know, more importantly, it's like, you know, the concept of whether or not he wants to lower his health.
Yeah, I think that's way into that decision a little more.
Oh, you know what? He has lethal next turn if his opponent gets careless. If he drops Dr. Boom, he actually dies because of True Silver Champion Consecration. That's 7 plus the 4 from True Silver plus 2 from Consecration.
Zalae is holding his breath in wait, trying to hope that
So many possibilities.
Sjow.
Don't do that, Zalae. Keep your poker face. He's like trying to hold it in. He looks very nervous and stressed.
Okay. Yeah, these guys can actually see each other. They are in a Skype call with each other, so they can actually look at each other's reactions to cards and look at each other's faces in between turns. So poker faces are actually the real deal in this scenario.
Excellent move by Sjow, realizing that there is a threat that he could die, so he holds off. And Dr. Boom being drawn looks like it could be powerful. Tyrion is also very powerful too. I think you want to be making a power play for sure this turn.
Yeah, Tyrion, even though it'll most likely just get silenced, it's still...
It needs to get silenced and siphoned.
Yeah, without the effect, even without the effect, it's still a 6/6 body, which needs to be addressed.
So, let's see what he gets off this Pilot Shredder. Wow, pretty good.
Yeah, that's very good. Gives him a little protection against AoE. I think that's one of the best 2-drops. Doomsayer. Nat Pagel.
Doomsayer probably wouldn't have done it.
gotten that Peggle way too many times.
I've gotten a lot of Mana Wraiths lately.
Mana Wraith actually can be really good, but it can also be really bad.
Sums up the card pretty well.
Yeah. It was for a while. It was being played in Shamans. Mana Wraith Shaman.
You push for the little bit of damage, right?
Yeah. We've seen
You've already
one
played a Molten Giant.
or
Really?
not. Wow.
Interesting. Okay, so now you silence Tyrion for sure. You don't want to give him that weapon. Or do you even care? Do you care about that weapon?
I think you
do.
care, yeah.
You do.
That's a lot of potential damage.
Well, I was thinking if you could possibly ignore it and just go for like a really big power play with big minions, because he has to use his Ashbringers to swing through it.
Yeah.
But a quality consecration is just too much of a threat. So silencing a Tyrion leaves you 7 more mana.
Dr. Boom. Silence it. Throw them out. Molten Giant in. Dr. Boom.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good play.
The other alternative I was thinking would be to silence the Tyrion, kill the Haunted Creeper and Shadow Flame if you want a really clean board.
Yeah. It was 1 turn away from being able to do some really cool stuff too.
Yeah.
Because Shadow Flaming Sylvanas is also super sick.
Yes, it would be.
Twilight Drake. Okay, Twilight Drake, silence, and then
I'm waiting to see this play because I'm curious. Okay. I think I would have liked to see... Oh, I guess he wanted to get a tap in here while he still can. Three, four. Nope.
yeah, he's short by a
1.
pretty good margin. Oh, he's short by 1 damage?
Yeah.
How?
He's got True Silver Champion, Consecration, 2 damage on board. Oh, never mind. Just kidding.
No.
What did I okay, yeah.
If he had infinite mana, he could do everything.
Yeah, that's...
And then be one short of lethal.
yeah. I was like thinking that the Quartermaster was
Twitch
already
chat.
on the board. It's like it just magically appeared without even using up mana.
It's okay.
No, but he's actually pretty far off.
So you want to kill off this. Consecration's pretty decent here.
Ooh. Okay, the Sledge Belcher
Yeah.
as well.
I think now it's definitely safe to press in. He would have played Molten Giant number 2.
Yeah, regardless, he's... Well, I guess he wouldn't have... 1 mana Molten Giant is not that much different, so you might as well just push in. Without the Consecrate, doesn't have much burst from his hand, but still, 6 health is not very much health to work with.
Yeah, Sjow needs he needs a taunt.
Has Defender of Argus.
He does have Defender of Argus. He also has a very cheap Mountain Giant that he can place. Shadow Flaming Sylvanas is a very weak play because you could get a 1/1. Twilight Drake.
I wonder.
It doesn't feel very good. You might have to Defender of Argus. So you can play the... but you can't... If you play Defender of Argus, you have to play like a smaller minion in order to get the Shadow Flame off, because it doesn't fit mana-wise. The only thing that fits it was the Zombie Chow. Really weak.
I guess this play is stronger against Equality than the Mountain Giant.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. It could allow you, like, in a situation where you steal what would be the point of lethal at this low amount of health. With not as much damage on the board, this play seems a little bit better.
Sylvanas is also one of those creatures where it's scary to use Alder Peacekeeper on it, just because then that means when it dies, it leaves a lot of health on the minion it steals.
Yeah.
Right? If you play Dr. Boom or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay, so back over to Zalae's land. He's still on no threat of dying, but he's trying to figure out if there's a way for him to potentially kill the next 2 turns, and I don't see it.
Well, he could guarantee a 1/1 steal, but he'd be leaving so much left on the board if he true super championed and then traded in.
Might have to. You do have to deal with it eventually. He's running out of time too. This is there are death rattle animations that have to get settled.
It's just gonna Dr. Boo.
Boom. Okay, load up the board.
Wow.
Load up the horses and God bless.
Just throwing it all out there, and you can tell Zalae looks pretty uncomfortable with these lines of play.
So, what now? You can Shadow Flame and then let Dr. Boom's... Ooh, but Dr. Boom's bots might kill you. Oh, I didn't actually think about this. Dr. Boom might actually kill you just with his boom bots. I cannot even begin to fathom the levels of salt that Sjow will have if that ends up happening.
He can flood the board and then Shadow Flame. Like he can Twilight Drake, Zombie Chow, Shadow Flame.
Many possibilities.
Yeah, you could even Shadow Flame the Zombie Chow. Or the Defender Vargas. You attack the 1/2, kill off Dr. Boom, and then Shadow Flame Defender Vargas.
Yeah.
It's pretty reasonable.
And then you're still... That's a very low chance.
So he's going with the opposite play here. He's going to do the same thing. He has to go fast.
Okay. Well, he could die. Ooh.
Oh, 3 health. That was very close. And I like this play a lot, actually, because it floats him above Consecration.
You can see his face.
Oh! And, like, that was so close!
Wow.
Oh my god, if he did 1 more damage on the Boombot, he actually could have killed him with Consecration.
1 more damage on the Boombot, or if the other bomb had hit, even just for 1 damage.
What I love about this play from Sjow is he keeps both taunts alive as high as health as possible.
Yep.
Very, very good puzzle here from Sjow to figure out an optimal way to put damage back on his opponent. If he gets Ragnar's next turn, that is 8 plus the
23
13.
damage.
That's 21 damage?
Oh, well, 8?
Plus the 15. Oh, it's 23. You're right. 23 damage. It's not going to kill him,
No.
but it's close.
It's very close.
It's close.
A
And
dark bomb off the top would be enough.
here's the question, too. Do you go for it so that way he can't tap? It doesn't really matter, though. You can't kill him. This is just, like, so unideal on so many levels for Zalae.
Well,
Sjow needs to not tap. He needs to draw into a heal of some sort. Draxus.
It's not a Draxus.
Second.
And now that his one of his taunts is gone, I mean, he does have a way to continuously build a wall here. He's got the Senfear Protector and a lot of big targets to use that on.
I think it's rag time for sure. And
Yeah. And that Sylvanas is still problematic because even though it got Eldor Peacekeeper,
It's all about equality here.
Oh!
Zalae actually was not looking at his screen when that happened, and he looks really calm about it. So.
Yeah.
Looks like he does end up having it. And Sjow almost jumped out to a 2-0 lead, but seemed to fall just short at the finish line. No heal ends up costing him, and Paladin does end up getting the win.
Okay. Well, you were right. Equality is a big card. He needed it at that precise moment, though.
Right. I mean, he didn't have equality for a long time.
That's very true. He could have drawn in a lot of points. There was a lot of cards that sat dead in his hand. Lay on hands, the second Paladin Shredder, second Quartermaster as well.
Sure.
Can be a situational card at times. So that equality came at the right time, but it was very likely that he was going to draw into that at some point in the last 10 turns or so. So it's going to tie it up 1-1. The next match is going to be Warlock versus Warrior. So this is one of Sjow's signature decks. I would actually go as far as to say it is his signature deck. He's hit #1 Legend on both North America and EU multiple times with different variations of Control Warrior. And he's probably one of the most experienced Control Warrior players in the competitive scene.
And I do give the edge to the Warrior in this matchup now. Especially if Sjow has double BGH, he's really expecting a lot of handlock and warrior. And he was well equipped for the control game. It's just that Paladin, like we said, has the edge, a very thin edge, because of qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the small things too. I didn't see any heals from Sjow at all. Like if he had Antique Heal Bot or Farseer.
Yeah.
But if he's playing double Big Game Hunter, he did have to cut some things. So there is some give or take. Maybe he's not playing Dark Bombs. I don't know.
In the Legendary Series, Zalae was actually the first player to run double BGH in his Warrior deck from a few weeks ago. So it was really effective. That was actually the week that he qualified for the actual match day, which brought him to this week. So he had some success with it, and I'm not surprised that other players are starting to tech in. We'll have to see if that's what Sjow decided to do with this deck, but he's gone through lots of iterations of Control Warrior, so I'm curious to see what he settled on for his matches today.
Well, he has to account for Zhu. Because just you have to do your due diligence, but it is Control Warrior. Or sorry, it is Handlock.
Yeah, which is expected. Zalae has run Warlock every single week that he's played, and it's been Handlock 100% of the time.
Harrison's a card that definitely can be a big swinger too if your opponent feels cornered to Jiraxis early.
Yeah.
And then you just obviously have the perfect answer to it.
It's a comfortable card to have as the Warrior player in this matchup. You know you're not going to use it anytime soon, but just the fact that you have it available for Jiraxis puts you at ease a little bit, I'd say.
Job's done.
Oh, that's a very big draw. Because now he can kill off anything that comes out on turn 4. Guaranteed. So, looks like this Mountain Giant will get smited for the most part. Without that shield block, I think Sjow would have had to have a very scrappy way to kill it.
Yeah. Is there any merit to just Ancient Watcher tap in that scenario?
Yeah. If you feel like your opponent has the perfect responses and you play around it. I've seen it happen. It's not that it's the best play. In fact, it's not the best play on paper, but it's sometimes a smart play.
The more I see it, the more I like it, because it's just so likely. Well, not so likely, but I think it's more likely than not that a Warrior player will have an answer to your first threat. So putting the Warrior in a place where they're having to make tough decisions instead of just autopilot, shield block, shield slam, could shake things up a little bit enough to where you might be able to edge out.
Well, that's a good point. You have an opportunity to utilize like his removal inefficiently, and then the Mountain Giant becomes safer. But I think in this case, you don't have a contingency plan.
True.
So I think playing the Mountain Giant there was okay.
Yeah.
Show's wondering if he can give up 15 life here to take on Lotheb.
Or give up a Harrison Jones to
On curve, just to challenge him.
on curve just a challenge. And Zalae has to be pretty happy to see that, because that's going to make that Jiraxis play later on just a bit safer.
Doesn't want to give up his life. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Because now, I was always told that, you know, Harrison is the reason you can't play Jiraxis too early, especially if Warrior uses up a lot of cards.
Yeah.
But if you have Harrison used and you put Jiraxis out early, what does Warrior do now?
Yeah. Harrison, I feel like, is usually a really big win condition in this matchup. A lot of times games come down to whether or not you have a way to deal with a Jiraxis. And sometimes Harrison can be awkward to play, like if you have a handful of cards, or if it comes out at a time where fatigue is going to factor in if you draw into too much of your deck. But you're right, what do they do if an early Jiraxis comes out? They have enough removal to get through some giants, and they have enough removal to get through some big threats, but a 6/6 every turn for 2 mana can sometimes be too much.
Wow. Trading into it. I guess he's playing. I mean, this is Zalae's in a nutshell, right? To be very safe.
Exactly, yeah.
His plays weren't very good, but I mean at the same time it's like this play feels very substandard because look how Warrior can take the board now very easily, keep a high health, high armor count,
and has a Acolyte of Pain on the board that doesn't have anything to answer to it, which has a potential to just give him even more card draw, which a lot of the times is big in this matchup because sometimes if Warrior uses a lot of the removal early, they can run low on cards, and getting more mileage out of the Acolytes is actually a pretty big deal, I'd say. In this matchup, in all matchups, but in this matchup, I think especially.
So he's now going to the root. Oh, nice tap to get into the Mountain Giant here. But I was saying he's going to the root where he's not playing for, like, he's not seizing the board and giving his opponent the ability to draw cards. He's trying to deny that because he could have played Dr. Boom. Very fortunate that he tapped into the Mountain Giant, but it seems like Sjow once again will be prepared perfectly for it.
Yeah. He even has a chance to respond by putting out his own threat with the Shield Maiden here. Shield Maiden and Execute.
Yep, I think that's the strongest play available to him at the moment.
Yeah.
Kill off the Iron Beak Owl as well.
Shield Maiden can be a little bit awkward to deal with for Warlock as well.
It's very awkward.
Because you don't want to have to use a removal on it, because you know there's going to be a lot bigger threats. And Shield Maiden still, if it trades for like a Siphon Soul or something like that, then you still got the armor out of it, and you bait it out of removal. That's going to make your Alexstrasza, your Rag, your Baron Geddon stronger later on. Pretty good. And he actually doesn't have a really good way to deal with this right now besides Siphon Soul. I guess Dr. Boom would be a decent answer.
It is, but he played around. He played around the Acolyte drawing more cards in order to deny that card draw. Dr. Boom here still feels pretty powerful though because he just used Execute as well, but it's like weaker because now this 7/7 gets challenged easily.
Yeah.
In fact, a cool Taskmaster on it just kills it.
Is there a better play though? I don't think so.
Well, you play Armor Smith first, so that you get the armor. Oh, I actually like killing off the Boombot first, so that way it can hit the armor. It might be able to hit.
Hopefully it doesn't hit the Shield Maiden for 4.
Right.
Okay, that's
Perfect.
ideal. Wow.
Well, I think ideal is actually hit the Shield Maiden for 1.
Oh yeah, I guess that'd be true. Since you're killing it off anyway.
Sequencing makes perfect sense here. Good play from Sjow. Zalae, on the other hand, he has to make a couple of interesting choices here because, well, if he plays Hellfire, he does actually develop the board a little bit with the Ancient Watcher, but he's got nothing else. Like, Ancient Watcher is his only initiative on the board. His Molten Giant is too expensive right now.
You could still tap.
Well, he has to Hellfire tap.
Yeah, Hellfire
that
tap.
Ancient Watcher.
Yeah.
That's where actually, maybe that 1 damage to the robot actually does end up being a difference. Well,
damage.
the Boombots have been very feeble, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, Sjow though, he's running low on cards here. I mean, what he has in his hand are pretty valuable. And whoa, Black Knight.
Very valuable card.
Yeah.
Especially in this matchup where you most likely will see a giant taunted up.
Yeah, that's a read from Sjow, thinking that he's going to run into quite a bit of handlock.
I mean, he's correct.
Yeah, that's if you watch any competitive Hearthstone or have an idea, handlock is like the go-to choice for a lot of players, especially in the Legendary series.
So, Zalae looking like he wants to go for Molten Giant here and then taunt it up. But he is in for some very rough news. Oh, actually, he won't want to taunt up, right? He want to taunt up the Ancient Watcher
Yeah,
instead.
smart play.
There you go. He's on point. I like it.
Very smart play. And now this is an awkward spot for Sjow here.
Well, actually, it's okay because he has 11 mana at this turn, right?
But still, what are you going to Black Knight an Ancient Watcher?
Well, it's a taunt that you have to get through.
That's true.
And it still puts a 4/5 on the field.
And I guess you can't really rely on like trying to draw into a brawl.
Right. It's like scenarios like this where Harrison actually becomes really powerful because normally his follow-up would be to Jiraxis and then you Harrison to destroy the weapon and draw 7 cards.
Yeah, this is usually the point in the game where Warriors need some draw in this matchup. And this is a lot of times where that Harrison Jones comes into play.
None shall.
Because it eliminates an option from your opponent by saying, well, I can't play Draxus early because my opponent might have Harrison Jones, which will completely swing the game. But now Zalae can just freely play the Draxus without having to worry about it.
Problem is, I don't know if he'll be fully safe from Gromach if he plays Draxus.
Unless there's an empty board.
Well, I mean, he can be safe from Gromach now this turn if he just simply heals up and destroys things. But I'm just saying if he plays Draxus, he won't be safe. So I think he's gonna hold off on Draxus. There's still no rush. This matchup tends to be very grindy.
This is a tough play. He's got a lot of situational cards.
Well, I think you want to play the Ancient Heal bot.
Do you want a
For
Shadow
sure.
Flame here? Get rid of your Molten Giant, hit it into the Sludge Belcher, and then Shadow Flame.
That's really convenient. The Owl.
Yes, it is. But he's not going to use it.
Yeah, well, it makes it easier for the clear. So he just plays Ancient Heal bot. And then pass.
Huh. That seems like a really underwhelming play for that turn. I don't like Siphon Soul. Would Antique Healbot would have put him out of range, even with the Black Knight still on board. And now he's going to create a wall again, so actually this play's okay.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I don't think there's really any other choice but to rag here. I mean, you can
Well, I mean,
Shield
there
Maiden,
is-
which
there is
challenges
a
the
choice.
Molten Giant, but is that really effective? I mean, I guess the Molten Giant challenges the Rag also. So unless Rag hits the Molten Giant, then you're going to be in some trouble. And if it hits face, you're giving him a really easy or a convenient Draxus turn without having to worry about Harrison Jones.
I wonder.
Such a tough turn, I think. A tough turn with only 3 cards.
I think
I can take the hit.
Ragnaros is just too reckless. It just has so much potential to do nothing.
Sjow doesn't look too happy about that.
Oh no, look at it. Here's where I think you can Jiraxis now. In fact, I'm starting to think you should Jiraxis. You can start off by Mortal Coiling the 5/5 because this 2 health Taunter is not going to really do much for you. But I really like the idea of Jiraxis here. He already played Harrison Jones.
Yeah. So, and what else is he gonna do? I mean, he's got double Mortar Coil, double Dark Bomb.
You could play like Ancient Watcher and be really safe, try to tap
Yeah.
to go deeper. But you already have a very good Jiraxis hand.
Yeah. Which I mean, I wouldn't put it past Zalae to take the safe way out.
You'd probably want to Mortal Coil first.
And he does take the safe way out.
Okay. I have to say that it's the less sexy play by a big margin. But
Yeah. Zalae is not about that whole sexy life.
he's not about that. There's actually nothing wrong with playing it. He's playing around Brawl right now too. Wow. Okay. Very safe.
I think Jiraxis and then trading your Sunfear Protectors and Mortal Coil would even play more into Brawl. Or play around Brawl even more.
Well, I mean, by not playing the Sludge Belcher, you're playing around Brawl.
Yeah, that's true.
This Ragnaros is gonna be uncontested.
Well, this is a little better. And this also,
Man, kills a taunt. It's like, well, he needs to get past that taunt. Oh, sick. He's got Sylvanas, so Sylvanas can now answer the Rag.
do you want to take the Rag?
Yeah, he's
Regardless?
got 1 card. Take
Okay.
it. Come on, do it.
So many possibilities.
It wouldn't be that strong of a rag, but it's a rag nonetheless.
The only other play is like to silence Rag and then to like put taunts in his way. Do it. He knows this is the right play.
Yeah. You could tell it just hurts him right now.
Why does it hurt? This feels so good. You took Rag.
I don't know. It just seems like it you could tell that it didn't feel good to
You should be
Zalae
smiling,
right there.
Zalae. This is like school photo picture time.
Ah, well, Show's saying, okay, that's cool. That's cool. There's the brawl. That could help, but right now is...
You might have to endure one more round of pain.
I would
But
say.
then, like, if Zalae, like, catches on to it, he doesn't actually have to do anything. He can just... He actually can Jiraxis and pass.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Sjow was actually really hoping that this card was Gromosh. He could have won still. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that possibility. He could have
Yeah.
still won. That's actually... In hindsight, that's actually something that he was worried about then. So he does have legitimate concern.
Okay, that's why his face was so,
Right. If his opponent drew Gromosh or the other piece of Gromosh that he needed, the Cruel Taskmaster, then he would have won.
That's
Lost.
true. Very true. And he's got to breathe a sigh of relief here. And
Possibilities.
Well, now he's almost certainly,
I'd
like,
say
almost guaranteed to win. I would say like 85 plus.
tap anti-heal bot pass.
Well, you can Sludge Belcher. There's really no rush.
I guess so.
You don't even have to play the Molten Giant here.
No, you want to play around Brawl too. 'Cause that's one of the only things that he's going to have to come back into the game. Right. And he wants to use the Cruel Taskmaster to give him a better chance of coming out on top of the Brawl, but at the same time, he wants to keep the Cruel Taskmaster for an activator for a Gromosh later on to give him a win condition.
I don't know if you can play like that anymore.
You just have to try and survive as long as possible. Give yourself the best chance of victory.
He dies if Rag survives, right? No, he can armor up.
Yeah.
Because he's only 6 damage from the hand.
I wonder.
Very, very tough, but I don't find a way Sjow can win from here. He needs to win this brawl to start things off. Then his opponent needs to actually be on fatigue damage in the next 2 turns. And then Sjow needs to draw a way to kill him despite all that. Get past his taunt and his heals.
That's going to be a big deal. Oh!
Oh, Rag survives. I think that's like a case where you just like give up here.
Yeah.
I don't know what you can do here from Sjow. That's just unlucky.
And I guess that the Harrison Jones wouldn't even have played a
Right.
role in this game at all. He just didn't have what he needed, and Zalae, even though
It's still a very safe time to Jiraxis, but he refuses to.
he just... And you're not trying to hide it at this point either,
No, I mean most.
because it's
Most
pretty
players.
Well, actually, I've seen Jiraxis being taken out in some handlock decks.
Well,
It's too bad that Sjow didn't draw these threats when he needed them, but more importantly, I guess Jiraxis and Harrison never came into play. So you could look at a lot of the plays that Sjow did and be like, well, you know, maybe you shouldn't play Harrison there, but Jiraxis never came out, so it didn't even matter.
Yeah. Well, Zalae's going to take a 2-1 lead in the series. So he's 1 game away from not only securing his spot in the semifinals of today, but also securing his spot in the matches next week for a chance to gain more points, for a chance to win again. That's if he doesn't even go the whole way to win, because of course the winner does automatically qualify for that $20,000 land final. So now we're going into that blind pick stage. So these guys can pick any deck that they've used thus far. They don't know what their opponent's going to pick.
choose. I want to see that Mage deck again
Mage.
from Sjow, but I have a feeling he might side with Warrior. But there is Druid, so that's a big problem. And actually, there is Paladin.
I actually don't think he'd go with. I think Warrior would be a really risky choice right
Yeah.
now for Sjow.
But it's just like one of those things where Warrior's such a comfort pick.
Yeah, and especially for Sjow as well.
But, you know, how do you gauge the power level of his Mage deck? Like, what's it good against? What's it bad against?
Well, it's good against Druid, I think, because it beat Druid, but that doesn't really tell us that much.
Sure.
It was just one match, so a very small sample size. I'd imagine we'll see Handlock versus the Mage.
Okay.
Show's Mage versus Zalae's Handlock.
Because Sjow also has, what was his second deck? It was
Handlock.
Handlock?
It could
Oh,
be
but
Handlock
maybe
versus
he could choose
Handlock.
Handlock as well. Handlock is pretty strong for Sjow.
Handlock versus Handlock would not surprise me either.
Yeah. Yeah, actually that makes the most sense. I think we might see Handlock versus Handlock, which would be a shame, because like I want to see that Mage deck. I think it's very fun.
Yeah. I think Sjow went to take a little bit of a break before we jump into this one, so that's why we're
It actually
waiting for the
makes
next
sense,
match.
because I think this Mage deck would struggle against Handlock.
Would it?
I feel like it would. You want to get the Undertaker starts, and the Undertaker starts can get stopped. Actually, Mirror Entity, though,
Yeah.
does end up giving Handlock a problem.
And also, we haven't seen the rest
There's
of
ways
that
to
deck.
play around it for Handlock, for sure. Zombie Chow. Boom.
That's true. We haven't seen if that Mage deck has like burn built into it.
Okay.
Which would be good against usually that type of Mage deck that is control-y, that has burn built into it, like Fireball, even like Archmage Antonitis does well. And it is Mage versus Handlock.
Okay. Cool. We get to see more of it from Sjow, see if it can befuddle Zalae, who just plays, very standard stuff here. His Paladin is different, though. I think last week he brought Warrior instead.
He did.
But Paladin and Warrior feel like they're interchangeable in how they fare against a lot of things.
Yeah.
Paladin, of course, is better against Druid. Warrior, better than against aggro, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I think this is a call that Zalae made that he doesn't think his opponent would bring a lot of aggro. Because I feel like, I guess he does have Handlock against Zoo, but it still feels like he could get run over if he meets an opponent. Maybe if he goes on to face Hype Zoo just destroys him on a matchup that he didn't want to.
It's true. So it's really hard for me to gauge and predict the outcome of this match just because we know so little about this Mage deck, but the more I see from it, the more I think it's just like a straight up Death Rattle Mage with like tools like Echo Medivh and secrets built into it.
Okay, no Molten Giants?
I don't think so.
Okay. One thing that could be super valuable against Handlock here is Sylvanas and Lothel. Like, these cards that can have high impact on the board and force Zalae to just use what he has, and might even have to give up and sacrifice something. Maybe even the game-winning push.
Del Zalae took a lot of time on his mulligans because he doesn't really know. Well, he knows, but he doesn't really have a good idea of what to expect with this deck. Big Game Hunter is a great card to have in your opening hand against Handlock.
But this is a great start from Zalae. He's got Coin Ancient Watcher into Ironbeak Owl. Like, that's pretty much what you want against a deck that has Undertaker starts.
But he's Zalae.
What?
Okay.
So he's got Hellfire, so he's going to rely upon that?
I guess that's right.
Sjow has double BGH already against Handlock. I forgot he also has Echo of Medivh and Duplicate, so he's got a lot of mileage for every kind of giant.
He could double BGH first two giants. An ideal scenario, double BGH first two giants, then Echo of Medivh, and then have double BGH for the
He's so
second
greedy.
two giants.
He's so greedy, and Sjow has yet to draw a Death Rattle to follow this up between turns 2 and 3. He's going to have to get the Death Rattles with the Piloted Shredder.
Yeah.
So you just Dark Bomb this, right?
You know,
There's no point in tapping unless you want to coin Dark Bomb.
I don't know anymore.
I like
Ferdinand.
saving the coin, generally speaking. You never know if you need it to extend a little bit more. And also, coin is so valuable against a mage that runs Counterspell.
With Zalae, I feel like I disagree with a lot of his plays, but somehow it all works out in the end for him.
Fair enough. I mean, if it works for him, it goes for his style.
Exactly. And he's got such a... it's safe, and sometimes, well...
Well, it's greedy here. It's not necessarily safe.
But is that really the greedy play? Because
Tap and leave an Undertaker on board? 3 turns in a row? Yeah, it's definitely greedy. Super greedy. Well, it ends up paying off for him because the Undertaker doesn't end up getting bigger, though.
I don't know if he really thought... did he see Haunted Creepers last game?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
You saw 2 of them, right?
Yeah. I'm not really sure how big he expected that Undertaker to get so quickly. Because if you think about it, from what he saw last turn, there wasn't that many cards that could have buffed that Undertaker up to too big of a range to get outside of Hellfire. So maybe it wasn't the worst, but Clockwork Gnome's actually a pretty big card that can do that.
I mean, that's the card that was supposed to be with the Undertaker. You know, the Undertaker got to like.
Four or
Here's the
five
thing:
health.
Zalae also had the ability to silence the minion with the Iron Regal, so he could be thinking like, well, if it gets out of control, I just silence it.
Yeah.
Oh, and look, he also has managed to draw into his Mountain Giant here for 5 mana. That's really good to get it out before the Mirror Entity.
Yeah.
I think he's contemplating Hellfire, but I think it's almost a snap call
So
here
many
on the Mountain Giant.
possibilities.
It's going to be a big swing in Show's favor with the BGH, but
Well, you can't play around that. You have to play around the fact that you might give him.
oh yeah, I wasn't talking about from Zalae's perspective.
Oh, look what happened.
Well, now he can BGH and Mirror Entity, which is pretty problematic. Well, actually, I don't even know if that's the right choice.
Right. There's a lot of ways for Handlock to play around Mirror Entity. There's many small creatures, but as the game develops,
Yeah.
it gets harder.
Yeah. And, I mean, it would allow him to control which secret he gets with Mad Scientist. So, like, if he gets a Mirror Entity with his Mad Scientist and has a Mirror Entity in his hand, then he's virtually got, like, a dead card in his hand. At least for the time
Oh,
being.
what if he gets a Time Rewinder on this spare part to bring back the PGA?
Wow.
It's just funny, because might be able to utilize that later on. Okay, I think that's the Finicky Cloak field, which
Yes, it is.
stealth of minion.
I've got the beast.
It's still okay. It can be problematic later on in the game. I guess not so much against. Well, maybe
It's
against
good if
Handlock
you
as
have
well.
Lotheb, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
or Archmage Antonitis.
Archmage Antonitis is right. Actually, that's a very good point. Archmage Antonitis might be in this deck because you have the duplicates.
Yeah.
Okay, if this is Mirror Entity, it copies the Ancient Watcher, and it does. So this is a very good play from Zalae to decrease the use of it. But there is Defender of Argus, which is interesting in itself because it gives it an activation.
Yeah. At some point in the match.
Right. Not yet, but definitely at some point it might come into play here.
Yeah. So he pings the Ancient Watcher to play around Molten Giants just a little bit. And here's the double BGH coming out from Zalae's Handlock.
So much greed. Like, everyone needs to reel in the greed by playing double Big Game Hunter, but that in itself is also greed because you're
Yeah.
trying to win the control matchups.
People should just start taking out Dr. Boom.
Some people already are to try and get ahead of the BGH game.
Well, I mean, there's actually a lot of sub 7 attack legendaries that are pretty decent
Right.
now. Like Trade Prince Gallywix is in
Trade
Rogues.
Pits.
Toshly.
Toshli's pretty good.
Sort
I mean,
of-
Cairn might come back
Karen, yeah.
as like a strong thing.
Sneeds.
Sneeze.
It's a little slower, but
I mean, Cairn's really good against control matchups, especially Warrior.
oh yeah.
Many possibilities.
Because it's effectively like 2 mid-range creatures, which is problematic for Warrior innately because you don't want to use.
Guaranteed.
Double
Pilot
removal.
Sky Golem. That might be 4/5. Well, Zalae needs to do something here.
I've got
BGH #1 is fine because he doesn't really need that.
Yeah, I think he realizes this.
But
It's
he also knows that his opponent. Does he know his opponent has like a lot of good targets with that, or does he have the confirmation that it doesn't?
I think
don't
it's just
really
a
know.
good read by him, or maybe not even. He doesn't know if it's good yet, but I think it's good. Saying, well, judging by the cards in this deck, I just don't think he runs Molten Giants.
Gotcha.
It could be risky, but again, he has the second one just in case.
So this pitches as if it's a duplicate, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's actually a mirror entity. Now, unfortunately, either way, there's not going to be a good minion coming out here.
Yeah.
Unless he gets a minion that he wants, and then he scoops it up with Echo of Medivh.
so many possibilities.
So, like, say he plays Ancient Healbot, and then he, like, gets it, and he's like, yeah, I get my own. Or he gets a third BGH. I mean, I think like, you basically want as many big game hunters in this deck as possible, right?
Yeah.
There's like, because they run 4 giants, they run sometimes Ragnaros, sometimes
Dr.
Dr.
Boom.
Boom, even Alex Straza.
Oh yeah. Oh no! If he makes the read that this is duplicate, he has to test.
But it costs 6 mana. And I don't know if you... I guess you'd be okay giving 2 Sludge Belchers as opposed to giving your... Well, I guess either way you give your opponent a Sludge Belcher.
Yeah.
No, I think it's okay. Either way you give your opponent a Sludge Belcher.
But it's an immediate Sludge Belcher over the fact that your opponent has to use 5 of his mana next turn.
That is true.
I don't know. It's such a really tough turn to think out if you're in Zalae's position.
He also probably should attack into his 3-1. He gets it just in nick of time.
Alright, well there's Piloted Shredder. And thus far we have not seen Giants. We have not seen any type of spells as far as Frostbolts, Fireballs, Flame Strikes go.
Right.
So this might just straight up be like a Death Rattle value mage.
I do think it does top out. It might. It has
Sylvanas.
to top out at Antonidas, doesn't it? It feels like such a waste to not have it.
Yeah. Well, you don't have many spells besides what you get from Clockwork Gnomes. He doesn't have Fireballs, Frostbolts,
That
at
is
least
true.
from what we've seen.
So
So
I guess Dr. Boom then. Dr.
Yeah.
Boom's where he tops out at.
yeah,
If I mean, I'm assuming he is.
it
when
might even be Sylvanas that he tops out at.
Okay. Yeah, it's a
It-
possibility too. I just feel like Dr. Boom would be really good because you scoop up the boom bots.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, sick. I love when that happens. So his opponent just used Hellfire. Seems like he's trying to go for a board that has a lot of power on it. Hold off. He is representing as if he does have lethal, but we do know that there's plenty of ways for Zalae to be safe against it. He's got Shadow Flame, which allows him to effectively deal with everything.
Like an anti-heal bot, Shadow Flame, Coin, Dark Bomb.
Well, he can't.
Oh
Coin.
no, sorry, I thought he had 10 mana. This is still good. It represents the same amount of power on the board because the Ancient Watcher can't attack. So he can always do that next turn. Okay, oh, it does have Dr. Boom, okay.
But his opponent has BGH number 2.
It's pretty much an automatic play regardless, though.
Right. Just because of the swing.
Yeah.
Oh, the Finnegan Cloakfield,
Oh,
so that he
no!
can't BGH it.
I forgot
course.
about that sucker.
That was a good play.
Yes, it was.
I like it.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Can't even BGH. So much damage is being represented on the board right now as well. And Sjow has a
Oh,
BGH for
man.
good measure.
He might have to tap. He doesn't have any way to defend himself, but tapping actually does too much damage too, right? See, 7, 10, 11. If he has Fireball, he's dead either way. It's one of those things where, like, you might be dead either way, so you have to tap.
It's true.
Tap on the off chance. You can also Mortal Coil. Well, guess he wanted to Mortal Coil so that way the Drake can absorb the blow. Oh, well, that works out alright. Or does it?
That was virtually a tap, but for trading a Dark Bomb and a card.
Right, that's actually true. But you don't get an extra card, you use the card.
Yeah.
And the mana. Or one mana less. This bomb. 2
Whoa.
damage. It's awfully close.
Starting to add up.
He can't really tap here. He might have to just pass.
And the rope might just pass for him. And he gets it off right at the end. Kieran Tord Mage.
Interesting.
Wow. This deck is full of surprises, I must say.
Definitely.
And that's a big tempo swing early with that card as well, especially with Mirror Entity. If you play Kieran Tor Mage, Mirror Entity against just about any class, it's still problematic.
I mean, this is how well-tuned Sjow is with everything. Like, he knows his opponent probably has 2 big game hunters, so he, like, even cloaked it. Or, like, against Siphon Soul. And now he's collected Dr. Boom value. Do you play this Pilot Shredder? You are committing a lot on the board. He did use a Shadow Flame and a Hellfire.
And the Hellfire. Did he use another Shadow Flame earlier
No.
on? Okay, that was the first
And if he
one.
plays like Sylvanas Shadow Flame, you potentially lose
A lot.
like almost everything. Holds off on the attack.
Okay.
Well, I
BGH,
think
Dark
this
Boom.
is an opportunity for you to strike back and seize the board.
Oh, you can just Dark Bomb. You don't even have.
I've got the
I think, well, there's not really many targets, right?
Yeah, that's true. Want to get value out of it while you can.
Boom back.
Oh, gross.
But then you BJH him back.
God, I'm so tired of BGH. Seems like we've seen like
Are
40
you?
already today. No, not really.
Okay.
It's an exciting card, and
It's okay to be tired of Big Game Hunter.
it forces people
It's
to.
okay to feel, TJ.
No, it's not, Dan.
I recently watched Equilibrium.
How was that?
It was great. It felt amazing. There's a scene where he opened up the window and then he saw the sunset. In the movie, you're not allowed to feel things because they think human emotion is what drives like all kinds of violence and evil stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think Christian Bale is in it.
Yeah.
And like he felt.
You think Christian Bale is in it?
Yeah, I don't remember. Okay. I got confirmation from the admin he was.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Thanks,
it's
admin.
okay to feel, TJ.
Thanks.
TLDR. Alright, so he plays the Undertaker, Big Game Hunter, and Pilot Shredder, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're still flooding the board a little bit, but you have a little bit of protection. If he didn't have AoE last turn, you know he's not going to have it this
So
turn.
weak to another Hellfire Shadow Flame. What? So many swings. Just look at what Big Game Hunter does every single turn. It's like,
Yep.
oh, looks like Zalae might be able to swing this game. It's like, oh, nope, Show's got it. Second Big Game Hunter.
This will force people to not be greedy with
Some people. This is why
How much they put
sometimes
Dr.
people are
Boom.
like, screw it. I'm just gonna play Hobgoblin Warrior.
You know what? I did that before
And then
Dr.
they
Boom.
lose in the round of 64 of the Open Qualifier.
I lost way before the round of 64. I think I lost in like the round of 512.
Yeah, for those who don't know, TJ has a Hobgoblin Warrior deck, which is just amazing.
Incredible. The next
Yeah,
big
it
thing.
never fails to disappoint me.
That's what the deck name is. Next big thing. And copyrighted, everybody. Don't go trying to take my ideas.
I wonder.
You can put Hobgoblin in your warrior, but you cannot call it a Hobgoblin warrior. That's the
Well,
stipulation.
you're not getting any royalties from that one, that's for sure.
as far as you
I think he has to. He might Siphon Soul here just like stall. Oh, Iron Beak Owl. Oh, I guess he's gonna reduce damage by bombing too. It's effectively gaining life. It's definitely better than Siphon Souling, especially if you know your opponent still has threats like Sylvanas on the board.
But now he's out
Or
of
the
cards,
deck.
and it's pretty risky to tap. Still a lot of damage showing on board.
Yep.
Zalae just looks. I mean, a lot of times during games, he looks so stressed out. about
Hearthstone's
lot
a
of the
stressful game. I don't know if you felt this way. Because, you know, you're so against feeling. It's okay to feel, TJ.
Yeah, I play Hearthstone without any feelings. I actually think without feelings is the best way to play Hearthstone. Hearthstone.
But it's a stressful game.
Hearth. It really is, especially best of fives. Especially when you're up and you feel like you're gonna lose. It's like, ah.
Well, he's got the super late game combo of Jirax's Coin Inferno.
The ultimate super late game combo.
Yeah. I mean, this is him climbing back, and Sjow is expecting this. But does Sjow have the final push of damage in? Because these Infernos will start stacking very aggressively soon.
Well, this is sort of the weakness of not having burn in your deck, is that if you get to a point where you're in the later phases of the game and you're still drawing into these valuable early game creatures like Haunted Creeper.
I mean, yes and no. The Haunted Creepers are so sticky. It's like, until he gets Taunt or AoE removal, he's not going to be... He's going to be taking 3 damage per turn.
Yeah.
And it'll be like this case where he's going to be struggling every single time to try and clear the board. Now, there are plenty of ways you can get taunts, but
We have many secrets.
he needs Shadow Flame right here Taunt's okay. Taunt's
That
actually
is-
okay too.
Yeah.
But it's... Is that what he needed?
I think you can sack this Twilight Drake, kill the Kirintor Mage, Hero Power Sylvanas,
Destroy you.
and Sunfury Protector. And then that's a pretty big wall that he has to get through with only 7 damage on the board. Plus he has to worry about the Sylvanas, which is problematic in and of itself, without any cards. And
Kill
as
the
far as
Pilot
we
Shredder.
know, the only draw engine... Oh wow, an Echo of Medivh would still be really powerful.
That's still really annoying. 3 power replacing a 4.
I'm surprised that he killed the
Pilot Shredder.
Piloted Shredder as opposed to the Kirintor Mage.
Make it harder for make it easier for Sylvanas to steal.
Yeah, I guess so.
Congrats, Gooby, by the way.
7 and 3.
Wins. I mean, 7 wins is infinite.
Yeah, that's true. And Arena's becoming harder. That's so fun.
Wow, Gooby just like played Hearthstone like for the past few days, like 10 hours.
Oh, he started a new arena run.
All right.
Let's
Hope
see
he
what-
picked Mage.
Yeah.
Whoa! Wait.
It's close, but I don't think it's there yet. Nah, he's 2 damage.
Yeah. How much damage is on the opposite end of things too?
A lot.
11, 13, 16 damage. He's gonna kill off this Inferno because he's gonna die if he doesn't. It's all about his distribution. I think you give up 1 spider and then hero power it, and then
But then it makes the second Infernal a little bit awkward to deal with, but I think you're just going to push through
actually,
after
do you give up both of the spiders so that way you have maximum board pressure? Yeah, I think so. Because if he had AoE, he most likely would have used it.
that. Yeah.
I think you're gonna need every single bit of power you can squeeze out, and of course you trade in your Shrinkmeister here. Here we go.
Wow.
The home stretch. No! That is the worst card you could have asked for.
Well, he can stay alive. Siphon Soul the Kirintor Mage. Throw the Sunfury Protector into the Owl and just clear as many 1/1s as you possibly can.
Right.
Actually, no, do you? Or do you just clear
Yeah.
enough to survive and then go face with the remainder?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think you just kill 1.
And then go face with both of these.
Mm-hmm.
It is 9 damage to miss.
Because then if you 9 damage him right now, then it sets you up for a lethal opportunity next turn. Well, I guess it would be 12, 17, 19, 22.
Oh man.
I think he's okay with clearing off 1 and then going face with this.
Yeah. So he's afraid of like Defender of Argus. Defender
Oh,
of Argus
wow,
can
yeah.
kill him.
I think he does need to kill 1 of these.
6, 12, 17, 19, 22. He'd be 1 damage off lethal if he doesn't hit face with this. This is like basically whether or not he wants to limit Show's outs or set up for a win.
Wow. I think he has
He
to kill him.
blinks. He's not gonna have it.
Oh no!
Is that a troll? That's such a troll right now.
Because he can't use it right now.
Right.
Well, he can, but it would just be a 1/1.
He has to shoot the Infernal too. I mean, at this point, every point of damage matters, right?
Yikes. That could have been the beginning of the end here.
All right, that's something.
But it doesn't. Well, I guess it does matter in the grand scheme of things.
It still might not.
So
'Cause
Sjow
I
is
think
on.
Show's gonna die next turn no matter what.
Does he have a Defender of Argus left though?
Nah, it doesn't matter.
It does matter. Oh no, it doesn't. I thought that was the end of his turn. Yeah.
So does Show have a Frostbolt or anything?
Don't think he has any spells.
Oh, too little, too late, and that's gonna mean Zalae wins this series, 3-1, and Show, the second place finisher from last week, drops to Zalae.
Wow. So Zalae once again makes it that second round. We will be seeing him compete again next week, and at least, and if he wins today, then we'll be seeing him at that $20,000 land final. And of course, since he's made it through 2 weeks thus far, He's racking up those points.
Yeah, for sure. And he's playing, just, very standard, very straightforward. Nothing that rocks the boat too much, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like he's making like egregious errors here.
No.
He's just playing like it's like as if it's like the expert AI of Hearthstone that's been refined. You give him a good deck, and it's like this is what you should normally come to expect. And other than the 2 BGHs, right? That's what like starts coming at you. But
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are doing that now.
Yeah, and he was one of the first players to actually do that with his Warrior deck a few weeks ago.
Well, at least in our format. A lot
In
of
our
other
format,
in
yeah,
other
yeah.
tournaments, people have been doing double BGH for a while.
Yeah, and our format's a little bit different than others, so it's actually tougher to be greedy because since it's a ladder style, you can't have double BGH in one of your decks to counter like Handlock immediately in Last Hero Standing. You still have to match up against a good deck with your double BGH. But still, he was one of the first players to do it in our format, and I mean, it's worked out for him so far. Making it into the semifinals of 2 match days is pretty impressive.
Let's take a look at the bracket to see where we currently sit, as Zalae will go on to play Hyped, who did take out Gooby earlier today. And Gooby responded by crushing 7 Nerds Dream in Arena. Coming up on stream, we have Flybird versus 6-0 from Root Gaming, followed by Magic Amy versus Trump, the headliner matchup, the newcomer Tempo Storm versus Team Solo Mids Trump. That'll be a fun way to wrap up the quarterfinals. That's coming up for you guys all on the stream. This series is brought to you by Newegg.com and all the cool people that are partnering with us, like Crucial, Western Digital, and Cooler Master. You can check out all the cool stuff at Newegg Esports on the ESL website, as you see the link below. We're going to take a few minutes, and when we come back, we're going to have more action here in Week 6 of the Legendary Series. We're about halfway done through just the quarterfinals, so plenty more action coming your way in just a few minutes.